Good day. Today I'm going to try and go through a full assignment 3 for INF2611. So this one is going to be for INF2611 2021 assignment 3, which was talking about an MDR window application. So in this video I'm going to show you the complete application and what I opted to go for. But before I get started, I thought let's just introduce you to QFileDialog. It's one of the main things that we're going to use to open and save our files. So as you can see here, it says the QFileDialog class is a class which enables users to navigate or traverse through the file system in order to select one or many files or directories to open or save. The dialog is invoked through either static functions or calling the set file mode or exec function on the dialog object. So as you can see here, we've got 5 methods that you can use, and these are the associated descriptions. So the ones we're going to use are get open file name and get save file name. Alright, and so the get open file name returns the name of the file selected by the user to open it. The get save file name uses the file name selected by the user to save the file. Okay, then you've got your set accept mode, determines whether the file box acts as open or save dialog. Set file mode, type of selectable files, and then set filter, which displays only those files having mentioned extensions. I've got these methods and descriptions from these 2 links over here. I'll post them in my main YouTube in the notes below. Alright, so that's what we're going to cover in today's session. First of all, what we're going to do is we're going to open up our Qt designer. Okay, I'm going to use the PyQt designer. Alright, and the other thing that we're going to be doing is before we've been using dialogues, and then this time we're going to use a main window so that we can use the file menu options for file open and file save. So we click on create on the main window. Alright, and then we've got our main window over here. And since this is a MDR application, we're going to scroll and we're going to look for MDR area, and we're going to drag our MDR area over here. Alright, and then we're going to make it as big as we want. Okay, I think that should be relatively okay. I'll make it a bit longer. Alright, so yes, so now we've got our MDR area, we've got our file menu, we've got like a little status bar that you don't notice over here, and then we've got our main menu. So we can either give our main program a title over here. I'm going to call mine rugby, because that's what I'm going to focus on, is the stadiums for rugby. So or I should just leave it as tourism app. Okay, so that will set my window title over here to tourism application. Okay, in the meantime I'm going to save my file. Go save as, and I'm happy to create my UI over here. I'm just going to call it assignment 3 for now. Go save. Okay, so from here I want to create 2 options. I'm going to create an open file and a save file. So I'll just double click on here and I'll click on file. Alright, and you can see what it's done is it's created a menu bar there, and then it's called a menu file, Q menu, and it's called file. So over here I'm going to type in open. Alright, and as you can see with the open, what it does is it creates an action called action open. Alright, and then over here I'm going to go save, because that's what I want to be able to do. Okay, and then on my application, on my MDRs, I'm going to add 2 sub windows. So my first sub window is going to be where I'm going to capture event information, capture booking dates, and capture manager information. Alright, and then I'm going to minimize that, and I'm going to go and add another sub window, and this window I'm just going to add a plain text edit, so that I can open up the file, any text file, and display it in this text edit. Okay, so this text edit, I'm going to rename it, and I'm going to say text edit file display. Okay, and there is an option that you can set the sub windows title inside here. So you do have that option. If you click on the MDR area, if I'm not mistaken, I saw it. There we go, sub window. There, this is it here. Active window, you see there, it's got window, and let me just open this out a bit more so you can have a look here. And there, it's got sub window name. We're happy to leave it as sub window 2, and then the active sub window title. So I'm going to just call the sub window title. I'm going to call it display files. Display file. Okay, so you can see here it changes this to display file. Okay, and then I'm going to minimize that. I'm going to maximize this one, and you can see I've just got it on sub window. So this should become the active one. You saw how I had to click on it, and it made it the active window. So this is, I'm going to call this data entry. Okay. Alright, so now I've got my 2 forms. Now, the way I was thinking about it is, if you think of a secretary or receptionist, and you want to book a meeting room in a business, the first thing that they want to know is they want to know who is the clients that you're having the meeting with. Okay, they want to know, give it a title so that they can book the meeting room with a title. The other thing that they need to know is they need to know the start time and the end time and the date. So those are key entry points of what you need to capture in this sort of event management app. So the first thing that I opted for was to try and get a venue. So I would create a combo box with a venue. Alright, so let's look for our combo box. So here was our combo box, and what I did was I created a label and I said venue. Okay, so my labels I'm going to call LBL, and I say venue. Okay, and so that's the object name, and then for the actual text I'm going to call it venue. Okay, and so that gives me a venue option here, and you can change and play around with fonts. I didn't worry too much about playing around with the fonts. And then over here I've got 3 rugby stadiums I'm going to add. So you've got to click this plus option here, and the first one is Loftus Versfeld. Okay, I'm going to say Loftus Versfeld Stadium. Alright, then the second one I'm going to add Newlands Stadium. Okay, and then the third one I'm adding is Kings Park Stadium. Alright, so now I've got 3 different venues. Okay, and now the catch is, whenever you're having a meeting, you've got certain meeting rooms, and in those meeting rooms there's only certain capacity. So you can't have 7 suppliers coming to visit you and you book a meeting room with just 5 seats. So you need to know what the capacity is. So that's why the venue is important, and I added a capacity here. So I would just name that label LBL capacity. Okay. And then also change the text property to capacity. Okay, so now I've got a capacity, and the other thing that I was doing was I noticed that you need to reserve, or you need to tell the receptionist, okay, please book these meeting rooms under these people's under this name. So what I did was I added a name for the event, and with that, because I wanted it to be an event that could be linked to any of these venues, I created it as a line edit. So you just go and add a line edit over here, and you make sure it tries to look as neat as possible on line here. Go to this, and we go to our label LBL, and we call this event name. Okay, and then underneath here I went and I said event. Okay, so that gives us an event, and then we mustn't also forget to call our line edits. So we're going to say line edit and event. Okay, and on this I'm going to call this combo box and venue, and we have that. And then for capacity, I've added a spin box because I know that you can only you only need it for viewing purposes. So a spin box is quite nice to easily read from. So I renamed it to capacity. And also, depending on what values you're going to enter here, you must remember that the spin edit only goes up to 99. So it gives you a minimum value of 0 and a maximum of 99. So if I'm going to use a maximum of 300, then I need to specify that the maximum it can go up to is 300. Otherwise, when you set the capacity to 300, it will always just show you 99 in this box. And the other thing that I did was I made this property as a read only, so because I don't want anyone to be able to adjust the capacity of this place. Okay, so there I've got my event name, my venue, my capacity, and then the next thing I did was I created a date, and so I would go and add my label. I would say date. Okay, LBL date. Okay, and then on our text property, we also change it to date. Okay, make sure it's all nice and neat. And then what I did was I added a calendar item, because we have used a calendar widget in our COVID application. It makes it nice and big, and so for this calendar widget, I just said I left it as the calendar widget because I'm only going to have one. Okay, and then for the next label, I put it as the start time, and another label I put the end time, so that we know that the event is for so long. Okay, so this one's going to be LBL start time, and put that in start time. Okay, and then you can see how it's hidden, so I just want to make it a bit bigger. And then the same here for the end time, just say LBL end time, and scroll down and call this end time. Okay, and also also maximize that. And then for these, what I did was I added time edits, and so I've got a time edit over here, and I've got another time edit over here. Where is it? Time edit over here. Okay, and then what I did was I just named this time edit start and time edit end. Okay. Alright. So now this would be to capture the event, the venue, the capacity, okay, and the starting time and the ending time. So you can add the event manager information, you can add the client information, you can make your own forms to separate this information, or you could have it added on this front form. It's totally up to you. I'm just going to add this amount of information on it because I want to just make a simple program that shows two forms and that it uses that QFileDialog that opens and closes, and so that's what I want to try and do. So the next thing to add is a push button. So I'm looking for the push button, so I think it's up here. Okay, there we go. And then what I would do is I'd label this push button add event. So because since this is the event management, add event, and we change our text to add event. Alright, so that sorts out our data entry for our venue, event, capacity, the date, start time, end time, and then like I said, we can easily create additional sub windows, and we can say that these guys are associated with that. So there's so many different ways that you could create these. I've just used the simple way. Let me just add, I'm going to add all my manager's details onto the main form. So let me just stretch this out, and then I'll maximize this and go a bit further. Okay, and then I'll go and call my manager and client information. So another fun thing that you can do is you can use a group box, and we can put a group box over here, and on our group box we can call this event manager. So group box event manager, and then we just copy this out, put it in our text. There we go. Event manager information. Okay. And so for the event manager, I think they mostly wanted us to put the name and a contact detail. And so for me, I would be quite happy with just adding a label inside there, calling it first name, surname, and then putting his mobile number and his email address, since most of the people nowadays are using those as contact methods. So I'd add a label there, add another label here, and then another label over here. And so this would be his first name. That will be our manager first name. Okay, and then I just put first name for the text. Okay, make sure it's maximized, and then the same here. Just call this surname. Okay, maximize that, and then just copy this object name. go. And then this I'll just leave it as 1, and I'll just say LBL contact details. Okay. Well, we should leave it as manager because we're going to have client contact details just now. So contact details. Okay, so we got all of that, and now let's just add some line edits. So we've got his first name, we've got his surname, and then we want his contact details. So let's add another line edit, contact details. Okay, we can stretch that out, make it all in line. Alright, so this label, line edit, we're going to say manager first name. Okay, this one is manager surname. And then line edit manager contact. Alright, and then what we can do is we can add a another combo or group box. Let's go group box over here. And for this one, we're going to call it client information. Group box. Client information. Okay, so for the client information, there's a bit more details that we need. And one of the things that we need would be their first name, their surname, their physical address, their contact, and how many people are planning on attending the event. So the event capacity shows us the maximum capacity for the event or the venue, and the client information would just show us how many of those people are booking that or attending that event at that venue. Alright, so let's go and add our labels. So we want their first name, their surname, their contact number, and then their physical address, and then the last thing I add was the number of people attending. Okay, so let's go and change these labels. First name, it's weird. What am I missing? I'm looking for the text option, and it's got a 0 in it. Okay. First name, surname. Contact number, and this is the physical address. Okay. And then the final one is the number of people. Number of people. Okay. Alright, and then what you can do is we're obviously going to add our line edits for the first name, a line edit for our surname, and then a line edit for our contact number. Okay, and if we make it all align nicely, and we can stretch it out to the end of our group box. And then for the physical, I added a text edit. You can add that out like that. And then for the number of people, I added a combo, not a combo, a spin box. So that I've got spin box. I'll just drag that down a bit. Okay. And so there's my all the information that was required for assignment 3. It would be available, and if I choose, I could add an additional button to maybe add the client information and add the manager information, so that I could split this into 3 separate files. And the only reason why you would want to split it in 3 different files is because the next module, or the next assignment, which is assignment 4, and that wants you to have separate tables for different things. So yeah, you can do that, and yeah, this is the form. So I would like I say, you could add it as a separate a total separate sub window for each of these other group boxes. And then, but in my program, I'm going to just add it as one, and I'm just going to leave it as one like that. So I'm just going to go back and relabel these because I don't want to get confused with the line edits. So I'm going to say line edit and client first name. Okay, first name. And then line edit surname, and line edit contact, this, as you can see, is a text edit, physical address, and then this one is the spin box, and we're going to call this number of people. Number of people. There we go. Okay, so we save this form. We've now got our assignment 3 form. Go to our command prompt. Okay. Type in change directory, and we're going to the root of our directory, and then all my files are stored in CD Unisa and INF2611. We have a look here. You'll see I've got assignment 3, and then this is my old assignment 3. So I'm just going to leave I'm going to actually replace that UI. So let me just call it PyURC5. Assignment 3, my UI minus O, and I'm going to say UI underscore assignment 3. Okay, and that has replaced that. Okay, so we finished up with converting our file. I'm going to leave that all minimized. I'm going to open my Python idle program. Okay, this screen opens up. I can click on File, Open, and I'll have a look at my my UI file. You see, where is it gone now? Unisa, INF. This is not this is a UI file. Okay. I didn't I didn't add the py part in it. Okay, so that was a bit silly. There we go. Now I can see it. So if I go here, click on open, going over here, and then I've got a long list of my actual UI components or widgets that I've got on my form. Okay, I click File and go to New File, and then this is where I'll create my calling code. So I'll call this file save as, and I'll just say call assignment 3. Alright, and then obviously we've got to just import all the normals. So this is called import sys. We say from PyQt.qt widgets import and QDialog Q main window Q application and QFileDialog. Alright, and then also we need to import our UI file. So I'm going to say import UI underscore assignment 3, and we want to import everything. So that's what we do there. And then we need to start our class. So we say class my form, and it's a Q main window. And that information you'd find up here. You can see what type of program it is. It says here UI main window, so you know it's a main window. Otherwise, it would have read here dialog. Okay, so we've got our Q main window. Then we start with our highest definition or method. Self parent equals none. Alright. Super init. Okay, and then we're starting with our UI. Self.UI equals, and you can actually copy whatever you see over here. UI main window. Alright, that goes there with open and close brackets, and we'll say self.ui.setupUI, so we can just copy that from here even, actually all the way up to here, and we can close that. Alright, and then the next thing what we'll do is we'll just use the run command to see if our code is working without making any further verifications or templates. So what I do is I just make the shell so that I can see if my code is operational or not. Q application, and we got sys.argv. Okay, and we got w equals my form, w.show, and then our sys dot exit app.exec underscore open close and close. So let's run this, and it should show us a very blank screen. Okay, so it's already moaning, and this is why I like this, because look here, I haven't spelled class correctly, so this is just a way of checking, have I got my template up and running? Nope, no, didn't want to find PyQt, okay, because it should be PyQt5, not PyQt. Okay, so what happens when you copy and paste code too often, you forget how to spell stuff, man. Okay, even super. Okay. There we go. Finally, we got our, you can see here it's got our tourism application. We click on file and we've got open and save, but as you can see there's no sub windows here, so we've got to tell our program, hey, you know what, we're aware that there's two sub windows, and so I normally add a comment and I say add our sub windows, okay, and then that would be self.ui.mdi area, and the reason being is because we've placed these sub windows in an MDI area, and we've left the name as MDI area. So if you have a look here, it's called MDI area, set object name MDI area, okay, and then we say dot add sub window, okay, and then we're saying self.ui.sub window, which is our first sub window, and then what I'll do is I'll just copy this code, because all we've got to do is add a _2 over here, and now if we run our program we should see both our sub windows. So here's our first sub window, and you can see there it's got data entry, okay, and then we've got our second sub window. So at the moment I can go and I can open this thing, and I can click on add event, it'll do absolutely nothing. Why? Because I haven't defined any definition for this button, so I haven't got a signal or slot associated with this button. Okay, so I'm going to close my application down. So once I've got that, I don't know if you noticed, but my spin edit had no value on it, so I don't know of any stadium that's got a value of 0 for the capacity. As you can see, I can't change this one because I've made it a read only, but I can change this one, okay. Alright, so in order to do that I have to set my my capacity value, so I do that through self.ui, and I look for the spin box name, and I believe I called it spin box capacity. So there's my name. Go over there, say spin box capacity, and the method that I'm using is called set value, and I'm going to set the first one to only 100. Okay, and so if I call my code now, you should notice that that spin box gets a value automatically added to it at start. You see here, I still can't change it, and this is where the fun part of coding comes. Is you can choose how do you want to change it. Do you want the user to be able to enter it manually here, or do you want it via the change of these drop down combo box? So I did mine through combo box. Yeah, and so in order to get the combo box to change, I created it's a personalized method or function, and I said self.ui.combo box. Just need to check what I named that combo box. I'm sure I called it combo box venue. There we go. So call that combo box.venue, and then I say current. I'm using the method current text changed. Okay, and then I use so that was the signal, and then connect is the slot, and I'm connecting it through to my own definition. So I'm just going to call it self.combo change. Okay, or could say combo venue change. Combo venue change. Okay. Alright, and then what I do is I use this and I say, okay, I want to start a new method, and I'm going to call it combo venue change over here. I'm going to start defining it, and say self. Okay, and then mustn't forget these, and then from there what I can do is this is why I leave this thing open. I just double click on here, I go here and I say Control C. Okay, and what I've done is I declare a variable that's associated with the current text. So what I do is I say combo text equals self.ui.combo box underscore venue dot current text. Okay, and then I say if combo text equals, and I put in the value over here, then and I mustn't forget this, then it must set the spin edit to a value. So I'm just going to copy this value for now because that's what I've asked it to load up, and that is the first value there. And then I use the elif. Okay, and I can just copy all of this to the next line. Alright, and instead of Loftus, I want to go and I want to use the next one, and that's Newlands. Okay, so let's put it in here, and I'm going to set that one to 200. Okay, and then I'm just going to copy this whole thing down to the next line over here, and change that last one Kings Park, and let's go back and put it in here, and I say it is 300. Okay, so now when I run my code, should see some interesting stuff. Okay, so it's not. If combo box equals, it must be a double equals, because we're not setting a value, we're checking if a value equals that. Okay. Now we can maximize that, and we can change this. Newlands, Kings Park, Loftus, and you can see that my capacity changes. Alright, so that was just for the combo box. Alright, and the next things that I wanted to cover was mostly the file save and the file open. So as I mentioned to you, those are associated to the triggers, and so or the actions, I should say, not the triggers, the actions. So actions, you have to use triggered, and so in order to do that, I used self.ui and then you've got to give the action name, and that's why I normally keep this open, just so that I can have a look and I can see, okay, what is the actual action name. And there's two actions, the action open. So let's just copy it from here. Let's go to this, and we say action open, and we say dot triggered. Okay, so this is the signal, is it triggered, and then we connect it to our self open file, and this is our own customized definition. Okay, and then we do the same for the save. UI action save. Let's just click on it here. Okay, go back here. Action save. We also triggered. So I'd actually just copy this end piece here. Go here, and then instead of open file, we click on save file. Okay, so that will be the two. And so what I'm going to do is just show you how I've designed the open file and the save file customized methods. Okay, def, and we're going to say open file self. Alright, so the first thing that I did was I specified what the file name was. So I said here file name equals, and then we use our QFileDialog, which we've imported from here. Okay, and we say dot get open file name, which is the method that I was showing you in the presentation earlier, and we say self, and we put it in single inverted, and we say open file. Alright, and the next comment, we're going to say we want to open the root of our C drive. Okay, and for us, we're going to use a filter, and we're going to say we want to filter it to text files only. So we go here like that. Okay, so that's our full Q file open. So let me just stretch this out so that nothing is hidden. You can see it all. There we go. Okay, and so the next thing that you do is you need to decide, okay, once the user selected a file, what do you do with that file? So for us, what we did was we created a open. We said open this file. So we said f equals open the file, and we said the first available file, and we set it to read only mode. Okay, and then what happens is we now need to read the lines from the file. Okay, so we assign it a variable, lines equals f.read. Okay, and then what we do is we say, okay, well, we need the lines assigned to something. So what I've done is I've assigned the lines to this text edit. Okay, and as you can see, this is the name of my text edit. Okay, so if I go back to my file, I can say here self.ui.my text edit name, and we convert it, we use the set plain text method. Okay, and then we pass the lines that we've read previously. Okay, and the nice thing is, if I just use this open, what happens is you might have been using the first sub window. So there's a method in order to make the second sub window show up, and so I use that, and I say self UI, and I say this sub window 2, okay, because that's where my text edit is, and I use the method show maximized. Okay, show maximized. So now if you have a look, I don't think I've got any text files, but I'll have a look. We can just look what I've got. Maybe I'll just create a text file quickly. Just do a notepad here and say event is we'll say Jesus is alive. Okay, with our venue, and we've got our venues here. We'll say Loftus. Okay. And then we can just have a look at how we've got our form saved, and so we know we got capacity. So let's put our capacity here, and I say 100, and then our date. So we say our date is the first of the 8th, 2021. Start time, and we'll put there 0800, end time, put 1900. Okay, so I'm just going to use this as a sample data. Let's just go save as. I want to put it under my folder. You don't have to, but I just prefer to store all my files here, and I'll just say sample. Save. Okay, so that's my sample. Now if I go and I run this code, run module, okay, well, it says it doesn't like that I've got save file and I haven't defined save file. So I'm going to just quickly create that. It's not going to be a lengthy one. I'm just going to give it a quick name. Def save file self, and I'm just going to use this. And instead of get open, I'm going to get save. Okay, and then I change this to save, so it should allow me to run. Okay, there we go. So now, like I said, I'm on the first form here where I could fill out information. If I click on file and I go open, you'll see it opens my C drive. I can navigate to that file now, and I can click on sample, and you see how it switched to the display file, and it's displaying my text file in here. So this is how I've used the file open. Okay, and so let's go ahead and make the save. We're going to say file name get the save file, I only want it to save in the text format. And so when I choose this f.open, instead of the R, I'm going to replace that with the W, because we want to be able to write to the file. Okay, so we've done that. And then what I'm going to do is, instead of reading from the file, I'm going to say lines must equal and whatever's in our text edit. So this text edit, we're going to go here and we're going to say, yeah, should have actually just copied from here. Okay, we're going to say lines equals, and we're saying self UI text edit file display, and we're going to say to plain text, so that it converts it to plain text. And as I said, this one is for reading files. So now we want to be able to write to the file. So we say f.write, and we add the lines that we're busy writing from above here, and then we obviously want to close our file. So that is the opening and closing. So if we go and we run it, let's go and show you how we made some changes onto our file. So file, open, and go to UNISA, go here, go sample, there it is. Okay, so we want to change the time. We're going to change this to 2300. We can go file, we can go save. It asks us where do we want to save it. We can go back to our same file and override it. It says yes, we want to override it. So now we can go out. I'll close the program because I haven't got anything to clear it. And let's say run module. And we can go file, open, and let's go back to our file, and there we go. You can see that we've got it to 2300. Alright, so I hope this has been helpful and informative. I truly hope that you've managed to gather the QFileDialog from this video, and thank you for watching. And all the best with your INF2611 exams and your assignment 4. Thanks. Goodbye.